In a world where every moment is permeated with sounds and meanings, words have a special power. They can not only describe reality, but also shape it, influencing our thoughts and, as a result, our lives. Have you ever noticed that certain phrases seem to attract certain events, while negative statements seem to come true with a frightening regularity? Perhaps this is because the language we use subconsciously programs us in a certain way, setting invisible boundaries and limiting our potential. You should not blame yourself if you feel that you are living a life that is not your own, as if you are following someone else's script. Society, with its established norms and stereotypes, imperceptibly imposes on us a certain way of thinking and expressing ourselves, which does not always correspond to our true wants and needs. But what if there was a way to rewrite this program, to free ourselves from the influence of other people's words and start creating our own reality? In the next few minutes, you'll learn how to harness the power of language to achieve your goals and make your dreams come true. You will learn how to channel words with intention, turning them into a powerful tool for creation and self-development. It's time to take your life into your own hands and become the protagonist of your own story. But before we go any further, think for a moment. Have you ever felt like your life is on autopilot and the goals, beliefs, and even the words you speak seem predetermined? If you feel trapped in a reality you don't like, it may be because your words are controlling you, not the other way around. However, there is an aspect that is rarely mentioned. Everyday words, by subtly influencing the subconscious mind, shape the worldview and set the boundaries of what is perceived. This process begins the moment speech is mastered and is a closely guarded secret known to influential personalities throughout the ages. They realize that language is not just a means of communication, but a powerful tool for programming the mind. The choice of certain words opens the way to success, love, and happiness, or on the contrary, imprisons you in a dungeon of limitations. Language learned from childhood is often designed to keep us within certain boundaries. The material presented is different from anything seen before, and is not just a source of information, but a gateway to new possibilities. In this case, the mechanism of cracking the hidden code in language that keeps people in mental cages will be revealed. The reader will learn how to unlock the words that allow you to break free. This is based on scientific evidence. Every word and every thought sends signals to the brain that change perceptions of the world and ideas about the possible. The vast majority of humanity is in ignorance regarding this hidden reality. At this moment, the reader is part of a select group that has been given a unique opportunity to break the cycle of predetermination, and therefore must not miss this chance. By the end of this text, the reader will have a set of tools at their disposal to begin the process of transforming their own life with words specifically chosen to attract success, happiness, and freedom. This is not just information, but the first step towards a whole new life. Imagine waking up with the realization that every belief the reader shares, every goal they strive for, and every choice they make has been shaped by forces that have gone unnoticed until now. It is like a spell cast upon a person from the moment of their first conscious words. And there it is, the disturbing truth. Language itself is a system of control, imbued with hidden meanings, designed to keep man within a set framework. Every word uttered, every phrase repeated, becomes part of this linguistic spell. It is worth thinking about the term spelling itself. When a person places letters in a certain order to form words, he or she is essentially casting a spell. shaping his or her reality through language. This is not just a beautiful reflection, but a powerful reminder of the creative and controlling power of words. Each written sentence is an act of bringing ideas into reality, giving them tangible form and deep meaning. Words, even those that seem mundane and carelessly thrown around, carry a hidden influence, shaping our perception of the world. Take, for example, the word contract. If you look closely at its composition, you can see against and concluded, a kind of connecting path. A contract, while seemingly bringing people together, actually encloses them within a framework of rules and obligations, creating the illusion of protection, but at the same time, limiting freedom of choice. These agreements form invisible chains that bind people to obligations that are extremely difficult to break. Now let us turn our attention to the word man. Breaking it down, we see he and man, a being full of light and energy. However, society often offers a different vision, accustoming us to see ourselves only as a physical shell, limited in our capabilities. But in the very word man is a reminder that each of us is a bundle of energy, a source of light capable of much more than is commonly believed. Even simple words such as awakening carry hidden meanings waiting to be discovered. Or, for example, wake, a gathering often held after a person's death. A true awakening is a kind of demise, the passing into oblivion of outdated beliefs, the finale of mindless following of the path predetermined by society. To awaken means to release the dormant part of oneself, the part that did not know about the language that forms the surrounding reality. And every new morning man rises again. But it is worth listening. Morning is consonant with morning. Every day when he opens his eyes, he is in a sense mourning for lost dreams and unrealized potential, returning to the rut that constricts his freedom. The morning is not just the beginning of a new day, it subtly hints at the loss, reminding us that each coming day can be a faded copy of the previous one. The legal system is fully aware of this. Take, for example, a subpoena. This document requires a personal appearance, but it is also a term from the arsenal of magic. A summons means a summons, a demand to appear. When a person is summoned to appear in court, he is not merely invited, he is ordered, as if the system has a right to his presence, controlling him as a magician controls a spirit. Now let us turn our eyes to the universe. Uni means one, and verse means word. The universe appears to us not simply as a limitless expanse of space, but as a unified whole, a pulsating vibration from which all things are born. This concept asserts that everything around us is created through language, spoken at the moment of creation. Reality itself appears to be a continuous incantation, where every element is bound together by words. Emotions, in turn, represent energy in motion, powerful waves that permeate our being. Each spoken word can change the direction of this energy, opening up new paths for it. This is the power of language. It not only expresses thoughts, but also sets in motion, shapes, and influences our well-being and behavior. It's interesting to look at the word faith and see it as being life. Whatever we truly believe becomes an integral part of our lives. Beliefs shape our reality by defining the boundaries of what is possible. This is why society seeks to control our beliefs, because controlling them means controlling the life we create. Consider also the word broadcast. the spreading of ideas to the masses, the transmission of messages to vast numbers of people. Every advertising campaign, every headline, every news article is a broadcast, a kind of spell cast on society, shaping opinions, desires, and fears on a global scale. Authors with unquestionable authority are the true creators of world history. They are not content to simply follow the established rules, but create the scenario by which events unfold, imperceptibly, for most people determining the direction of movement. The very word government carries a deep meaning. To govern plus reason, indicating the management of the citizens' minds. The government does not just make laws, but also shapes the public mind, determining what people believe and what is considered the norm. It is not just control, but mental guidance, setting boundaries for the perception of truth. Occupation, at first glance, seems to be just a way to make money. But if you think about it, occupation fills not only time, but also energy and thoughts of a person. Profession becomes a kind of spell that occupies the mind, keeping the attention on current tasks and distracting it from more important questions about the meaning of life and purpose. Even the word mortgage contains a hidden meaning. Mort means death, and gage means pledge, symbolizing a long-term commitment that binds a person for years to come. Mortgage appears as a fatal pledge, like a long-term agreement that entangles a person with obligations and powerfully determines the course of his life until the debt is paid off. It is a burden that inexorably consumes time and energy, keeping the individual within the strict confines of the system, in return providing only the phantom illusion of possession. Each word used in this context is not just a label, but a carefully calibrated incantation, a command that skillfully shapes a way of living, thinking, and self-image. Language, like a multi-layered construction, skillfully erects invisible walls, holding a person captive. However, there is a truth that is carefully hidden from him. It is in his power to break the shackles of these spells and find freedom. You can already begin to rethink your language, choosing words that do not constrain but liberate, words that do not limit but open up new horizons of possibilities. By using language consciously and purposefully, one can break down the script that has predetermined life and replace it with one's own unique narrative. If words have such powerful power, why is this knowledge not universally shared? The answer is simple. The vast majority of people are in a state of spiritual hibernation, unaware of the potential inherent in language. There are people whose existence is spent in monotonous repetition of memorized phrases, who do not bother to think about their true meaning, as if they do not notice the invisible fetters that shackle their minds. They do not realize that language is not just a means of information exchange, but also a powerful tool of mind control. It is worth thinking about what words shape the life path of each of us. Are they the key to freedom and self-expression, or, on the contrary, do they erect barriers and limit potential? It is time to wake up and realize that language is not just a means of communication, but a powerful tool for creating, not suppressing. Every human being has the ability to rewrite their own history. The only question is whether they are ready to use this gift. We must prepare ourselves to discover the hidden power of words. After all, every spoken word is a kind of spell that shapes reality. It is not just communication, it is ancient magic that can transform lives. Look at everyday rituals: brushing your teeth in the morning, getting a cup of flavored coffee, getting to work. All this seems ordinary and insignificant. But in these simple actions lies a huge power that each person has, often without even realizing it. Each of us is the creator of our lives, and every word we utter is a manifestation of our will and intentions. Let us take a closer look at the language we use. The very notion of spell reveals a deep connection to the art of spelling, suggesting that a certain arrangement of letters and the formation of words can have an impact on the reality around us. And this connection extends even deeper. The word grammar, the cornerstone of our communication, takes its roots from the Latin grimoire, meaning a spell book full of mysterious knowledge. Thus, even the structure of language itself, with its words and sentences, has a kind of magical power that can create tangible effects in the world. But the magic is not just in the words. Invisible influences permeate everything around us. Take alcohol, for example, a word shrouded in a mystical halo. It comes from the Arabic al-kohl, a term that originally meant powdered charcoal for eyeliner, but over time came to symbolize the spirit. In ancient cultures, there was a belief that alcohol could separate the soul from the body, opening a person to outside energies. It should be perceived not just as a drink, but as a spirit that one invites into one's life, with unpredictable consequences. Now let us turn our gaze to water, the source of life and mystery. Water has a unique memory, the ability to preserve the vibrations of everything it comes in contact with. Each drop carries a story, a subtle record, reacting even to the emotions and words spoken around it. When one quenches one's thirst, one absorbs not just the liquid, but the essence of everything the water has come in contact with. One can imagine the power of conscious drinking when each sip is infused with the knowledge of alignment with the surrounding energy. Abstaining from food is not only a physical act, but also a spiritual practice. In the process of fasting, the body gets rid of outdated cells and renews itself, as if a system reboot is taking place. This deep cleansing promotes mental clarity, helping to free oneself from entrenched stereotypes and come into harmony with a higher state of consciousness. Through fasting, you can refocus your mind, get rid of limiting beliefs, and unlock your potential. Many have noticed how melodies and rhythms penetrate the mind, shaping moods and beliefs. Music is not just entertainment, but a kind of hypnosis. Song lyrics and musical rhythms can subconsciously program the mind, binding a person to certain emotional schemes. This societal soundtrack influences one's perception of the world, bringing one into alignment with either a collective mindset or certain emotional states. It is important to realize the depth of music's influence, as each tune carries a hidden message that can have an impact on shaping human thoughts. Humans are essentially electromagnetic creatures, radiating energy that is born from every experience and every thought. One need only look to the language of jurisprudence, where an individual can be brought before a court, incarcerated, or reduced to a mere unit within the legal system. Modern society often treats its citizens as elements of food, integrating them into a complex system of social norms and prescribed roles. It is important to remember that a person is not just a cog in a huge mechanism. Everyone has a unique ability to manage his or her own energy, consciously choosing what to give to the world and what to receive from it. Returning to the power of words, one may wonder why a simple statement, "I am a millionaire," does not lead to instant enrichment. The magic of language is not immediately apparent, but its impact is undeniable. Scientific research demonstrates that regular repetition of certain phrases can change the structure of the brain through neuroplasticity, reorganizing established patterns of thinking and emotional reactions. Each spoken word becomes a kind of incantation that gradually shapes the reality around it. Negative statements such as, "I'm not good enough," or "I won't succeed," become limiting spells that inhibit personal growth and development. However, there is a silver lining. Each person has the ability to change the course of events in their favor. Positive internal dialogue is able to transform consciousness, strengthening faith in yourself, contributing to prosperity and achievement of goals. Saying inspirational phrases. A person seems to create magic, attracting abundance, clarity of thought, and inner strength. Behind the statement, "I create what I say," lies a profound truth that goes beyond simple motivation and takes on a spiritual meaning. Even the famous word abracadabra, according to some interpretations, means "I create as I speak." Ancient civilizations realized that words have the power of materialization, turning intentions into reality. Most people, without realizing it, create spells on a daily basis without giving much thought to the magic they are creating. They speak the words carelessly, without thinking about the impact they have on their lives. But now that the truth has been revealed, each person is faced with the choice of whether to continue to create spells of doubt and limitation, or to unlock their creator potential. Magic is at arm's length. You just have to learn to use it consciously and watch the world around you transform. There is a theory of linguistic determinism, which states that language is not just a means of communication, but also actively shapes our perception of the world around us. In other words, language determines how we see reality. Different languages can shape their speakers' unique views of time, emotion, and even color perception, because each language's vocabulary structures these concepts in its own way. Language appears as a kind of invisible optic, profoundly influencing our understanding of and reactions to reality. Words carry historical baggage that influences our subconscious. Take, for example, the word mortgage, derived from the Latin mortuus pignus, which means mortal mortgage. When we use this word, we involuntarily feel the heaviness and long-term commitment. Other examples are common phrases such as, "Money doesn't grow on trees." Seemingly innocuous, they reinforce in our minds the idea that money is scarce and hard to come by. By repeating them, we imperceptibly shape our beliefs. To push the boundaries of language perception, you need to start with awareness. Pay attention to the words and phrases you use on a daily basis. Analyze what effect they have on your state of mind. Uplifting, or conversely, depressing. If you catch yourself saying, "I can't afford it," try replacing it with the question, "How can I make it possible?" Instead of passively stating, "It's too hard," it's wise to ask yourself, "What lessons can I learn from this experience?" After all, words are not just linguistic units. They have a powerful energy that can influence the reality around them. Scientific research demonstrates an amazing fact. Words can transform the structure of water molecules. Favorable, positive expressions form harmonious and ordered forms, while negative ones, on the contrary, generate chaotic and destructive formations. Given that the human body is largely composed of water, the choice of words we use can have a profound effect on our physical and emotional state, determining our mood, thought processes, and overall well-being. Words are not just a means of communication. They are powerful tools for creating the kind of life we desire. Therefore, it is important to consciously choose words that resonate with positivity, growth, and opportunity. By doing so, one shapes the reality that best suits one's goals and dreams. It's time to break free from the invisible shackles imposed on us by language. Start using words purposefully and consciously, and you will witness amazing changes taking place in your world. Remember that your words are not just symbols or sounds. They are vibrations and frequencies that interact with your environment to have a tangible impact on the structure of reality itself. This is not just speculative reasoning, but a fact proven by rigorous scientific research. Somatics experts have convincingly demonstrated that sound vibrations produce distinct and expressive patterns in a variety of environments, be it sand, water, or even air. By changing the frequency of vibration, sound can transform matter, creating either harmonious and organized forms of striking beauty, or chaotic and fragmented structures, depending on the characteristics of the frequency. One has to wonder, if sound waves have the ability to affect the structure of such simple materials as sand, what is the enormous impact that each person's words, personal vibrations, have on his or her body, the environment, and even other people? One of the most impressive studies that clearly demonstrates the power of words is the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto. In his experiments, he affected water by speaking or writing words on it that carried both positive and negative charges. The water was then frozen, and the structure of the resulting crystals was studied. The results were striking. Positive words such as love and gratitude formed complex and elegant crystals, while words filled with hate and fear created chaotic and shapeless structures. Truly, everything in our lives is imbued with a deep personal connection, for the human body is largely composed of water, about 60%. When you consider that words have such a powerful effect on water, it is not hard to imagine how the cells of the body that contain this water react to the words one speaks and hears on a daily basis. It is not just a matter of perceiving or saying words, but of influencing the very cellular structure of the body. And it's not just about water. Studies conducted on plants clearly demonstrate that language has a significant impact on their growth and overall health. Plants that are exposed to kind words and pleasant music show rapid growth and thrive, while plants exposed to negative speech or silence develop much slower or even wither. This shows that language, or rather the energy behind it, has an effect on the world around us, on all living, breathing, and growing life forms. By making a choice in favor of kinder words, even towards himself, a person is able to create an atmosphere of positivity around him, which will have a beneficial effect not only on himself, but also on everything around him. It is quite natural to ask how this can be applied in everyday life. And here is a really exciting prospect. The words we use carry certain frequencies that have a direct impact on our emotional and physical state. It is known that words with high-frequency vibrations, such as love, delight, and gratitude, can transform a person's inner state, filling them with energy and having a beneficial effect on their physical health. At the same time, low-frequency words, including hate, fear, and defeat, generate tension, negative emotions, and discord in the body and mind. Every person has undoubtedly experienced this firsthand. Just think of how different it feels when you hear, "I love you," and "I hate you." These words do not just evoke different emotional experiences, they resonate within, causing physical and mental reactions. The words a person chooses shape their life experiences, and influence the attitudes of those around them. To harness this power in everyday life, it pays to pay attention to the words that are most often used. Do they inspire or, on the contrary, carry a negative connotation? For starters, you can consciously replace habitual negative phrases with positive ones. For example, instead of "I can't," say "I am able to." Minor adjustments in daily habits can measurably increase your vitality, improve your emotional state, and even broaden your thinking horizons, opening the way to new perspectives. Probably, many people are familiar with the concept of affirmations, and perhaps even tried to apply them in practice, but faced with a lack of visible results. What is the reason for this? The fact is that in order for affirmations to have a real impact on the surrounding reality, it is necessary to achieve a harmonious correspondence between conscious verbal attitudes and deep subconscious beliefs. Simple mechanical repetition of phrases does not bring the desired effect. It is necessary that the words resonate with what a person sincerely believes in. Otherwise, the subconscious mind may reject them as alien and incompatible with the inner worldview. For affirmations to become an effective tool, they must be perceived as true, real, and achievable. This may require revising established views or starting with small but plausible steps. It is important to remember, everyone has the potential to become the creator of their own destiny. You can begin this process today by choosing words that reflect your desired reality. The more coherence achieved between speech and high-frequency positive vibrations, the more harmony and balance is brought into life. Each person creates the contours of his or her coming one step at a time by uttering words. Surely, many people have wondered why some people manage to conquer the intended peaks with ease, while others face insurmountable obstacles. And here lies the cornerstone. Words born in the mind have a tremendous impact on the formation of the surrounding reality. The subconscious mind is like a relentless factory, day and night producing thoughts, beliefs, and reactions that often elude conscious perception. This linguistic forge is in continuous operation, stealthily shaping perceptions of self and belief in one's own abilities. Scientific research suggests that the human mind generates up to 70,000 thoughts throughout the day. And most strikingly, most of them function automatically. Many of the ingrained beliefs originate in repetitive thoughts, often unrecognized, formed over the years by words and ideas encountered while growing up. Every day, this mental factory runs scenarios in the background, using the words a person hears, the thoughts they repeat, and the beliefs they carry within them. Language is a powerful tool that can both elevate and limit a person. As a vivid illustration of its influence, we can cite a famous experiment in which participants were shown a videotape of a car accident and then asked questions about what they had seen. One group was asked if they saw a broken headlight, while another group was asked if they saw a broken headlight. The slight difference between the definite and indefinite article resulted in participants in the first group being more likely to recall the broken headlight, even if it was not in the video. This example demonstrates how subtle nuances in wording can significantly distort perceptions of reality. If individual words have the power to alter memories, one can imagine the impact of the language that constantly surrounds us in our interactions with friends, in the media, and even in our internal monologues. This language shapes our beliefs and memories, regardless of their veracity. The human subconscious mind is like a sponge, absorbing words and building a picture of the world from them. It is also like a mirror that reflects what we say to ourselves. If a person keeps repeating, "I'm bad at math," his or her mind begins to accept this as truth, erecting mental barriers every time he or she tries to solve a math problem. Self-validation, the phenomenon of the mind relentlessly striving to conform to established beliefs about ourselves, plays a key role in shaping our personality. Each spoken word, like an unspoken rule, can either erect walls of limitation or open the gates of opportunity. To break free from the shackles of self-imposed barriers, you must begin by transforming your verbal expression. Replacing the destructive phrase, "I'm always wrong," with the constructive statement, "I'm learning every day," marks the seeding of new ideas that encourage the mind to explore perspectives rather than being trapped in rigid beliefs. The origins of many deep-seated beliefs are rooted in childhood. Scientific research suggests that the words that surround us in our younger years form strong neural connections in the mind. Children who were praised for their abilities and intelligence often grow up with an unshakable belief in their own abilities. However, negative remarks heard in childhood can leave an indelible imprint, shaping how we perceive ourselves in adulthood. It is likely that some of today's thoughts and beliefs are echoes of words absorbed long ago. Visualization is an amazing tool for reprogramming the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is not always able to draw a clear line between reality and vivid imagination. That's why athletes and artists actively use visualization to improve their skills. By visualizing themselves succeeding, they create powerful mental pathways that make success more tangible and attainable. By combining visualization with positive affirmations aligned with your goals, you can create new, effective pathways in the mind that promote personal growth and fulfillment. Imagine how just 5 minutes of daily visualization, combined with affirmations like, "I am confident in my abilities," or "I am fully prepared," can transform your life. This simple practice of regularly repeating positive affirmations, drop by drop, builds faith in your subconscious mind, aligning your inner world with your deepest desires. How to make this powerful tool, Subconscious Language Factory, work for you. First of all, you need to realize what words you use when addressing yourself. Do they carry a positive charge that expands the horizons of possibilities? Or, on the contrary, do they only reinforce your limitations? Start small. Replace phrases that constrain your will with those that inspire hope and confidence. Instead of the usual, "I can't," say to yourself, "I'll figure it out." Give up the pessimistic, "It's impossible." Try saying, "I will definitely find a way." Over time, these seemingly small changes will have a tremendous impact on your life. It's not just blind positivity. It's building a solid foundation for achieving your goals. By speaking as if the desired reality already exists, you channel the energy of your subconscious mind to support these beliefs, bringing the future you dream of closer step by step. Are you ready to begin reprogramming the language factory in your mind and start creating the life you've always dreamed of? Do you want to learn how to shape your reality through the power of words? Start by making small but meaningful changes. Whenever you catch yourself saying something like, "I can't handle it," try replacing that phrase with, "I'm getting stronger every day." Small steps like this will gradually change the established thought patterns in your mind. Over time, these new words will form a solid foundation for developing resilience and unwavering self-confidence. During the day, you can conduct an interesting experiment. Replace all negative statements with positive counterparts. For example, instead of saying the pessimistic, "It's impossible," it's better to say, "If someone succeeded, I can do it again." This simple practice can transform your approach to problem solving. Imagine a life where the key words are growth, strength, and positivity. Each spoken word is like an artist's brushstroke shaping the canvas of life. Language not only reflects thoughts, but actively influences their formation. By consciously choosing words that inspire and empower, a person becomes the creator of their reality, moving closer to their most cherished goals. Words are not just a means of communication. They are an instrument of creation. This experiment with language is not about avoiding certain phrases out of fear, but rather about choosing words that motivate, uplift, and open up new perspectives. It is about empowerment rather than limiting oneself. Start small. Pay attention to your words and choose the ones that align with your goals. Are you ready to unlock your true power by using words as a tool? You can further explore ancient practices to further enhance this effect, using language to achieve harmony with your deepest desires. Now is the time to embark on the path of the unknown, for the most exciting adventure is just beginning. Quantum physics is making amazing discoveries, demonstrating that the very act of observation can influence reality. In the famous two-slit experiment, scientists have witnessed how elementary particles change their behavior depending on whether they are being observed. It was as if they switched between wave and particle states, obeying the observer's gaze. This discovery created a real sensation in the scientific community, prompting speculation about how consciousness might affect matter. If we look at language through the lens of quantum physics, every word spoken or mentally formulated becomes an act of observation, directing energy into the vast field of potentialities surrounding each of us. In other words, language has the ability to create microscopic shifts in quantum reality. Words can be likened to observers who influence the behavior of the quantum field. The power of language is not just a speculative theory, but a scientifically confirmed fact. Studies show that people who tend to use positive language exhibit higher health outcomes compared to those who do not. A groundbreaking study published in the journal Psychosomatic Medicine found a direct link between positive affirmations, uplifting language, and favorable changes in the body, such as lower blood pressure, improved immune function, and even reduced symptoms of depression. Imagine how the human body responds to the words we speak, as if responding to some quantum impulse that goes beyond mundane interconnectedness. Words appear as a kind of switches in the quantum field, capable of activating different variants of reality. Even an insignificant change in our speech can radically change the perception of reality. Try replacing the phrase, "I must," with the more optimistic "I can." It's not just a change of intonation, but a conscious choice of a broader perspective. In quantum physics terms, it's like choosing the most likely scenario, where the opportunities themselves tend to come to you. Quantum theory states that there are many potential realities, and by adjusting our speech, we imperceptibly choose our desired outcomes. Here's a suggested experiment. Throughout the day, pay attention to the limiting phrases you use, such as, "I can't," or "that will never happen." Replace them with empowering ones, such as, "I'll find out how." And each time you do this, you are gently guiding your reality in new, uncharted directions. Scientific research strongly suggests that words have amazing power to shape our perceptions and guide behavior. This means that positive thinking is not just a pleasant addition to life, but a powerful tool for creating a new reality. In the exciting world of quantum physics, there is a concept known as wave function collapse. It states that something amazing happens at the moment of observation. A field of countless possibilities instantly crystallizes into a specific state. Imagine that your affirmations are the very tools that allow you to manipulate this collapse, guiding it toward your desired reality. When you affirm, "I am becoming successful," rather than simply dreaming of future success, you are doing more than just saying the words. You are actively coming into resonance with the reality you are striving for. This alignment is key, allowing you to influence your quantum experience, multiplying the likelihood of achieving what you want. If language has such incredible power, a legitimate question arises. Why aren't we all using it consciously and purposefully? The answer lies in the many barriers, doubts, ingrained habits, and even social conditioning that prevent us from reaching our full potential. However, there is a key to overcoming these limitations: mindfulness. As you begin to become aware of your word choices, you gradually free yourself from the shackles that prevent you from creating your life. The word matrix is not just a metaphor. It is a reality in which every sentence you utter becomes a brick in the foundation of your life experience. Modern media employ sophisticated strategies aimed at subconscious influence, thus shaping a world where reality is constructed through carefully chosen words. Every title and every phrase acts as a powerful suggestion, programming the audience's perception. And what is particularly important to realize is that this mechanism has a direct impact on each of us in the moment. One of the most subtle but effective techniques is framing. It is enough to imagine a situation where the coverage of a protest action is presented not as a demonstration, but as a riot. The vocabulary itself can dramatically change the emotional perception of the event. Scientific research confirms that words function as a kind of mental framework, guiding the audience to a certain interpretation of what is happening. Thus, the media have the ability to present the same scenario from different angles, evoking support or conversely, disapproval, dividing opinions and pushing people to choose a certain position, often without even realizing the manipulative effect. This hidden linguistic technique is one of the most powerful tools used by the media to shape public opinion on a wide range of issues, from political to social. In addition, there is another hidden mechanism that keeps people within the dominant narrative, known as the spiral of silence. This theory explains how the media influences public perception by making minority views seem less popular or even dangerous. When the media systematically reinforces certain points of view, people who hold opposing views begin to feel isolated and often prefer to remain silent to avoid possible social rejection. This leads to the formation of so-called echo chambers, where only a narrow spectrum of ideas circulate, giving the public the illusion that the dominant viewpoint is true, when in fact it is a carefully constructed picture. Ultimately, the media do not merely reflect reality, but actively participate in its creation. So, what can a critical thinker do in the modern world? First of all, it is necessary to develop an awareness of mind manipulation techniques. Pay close attention to the language used in news headlines. Notice the repetition of certain phrases and how the narrative is organized. Ask yourself questions. Why were these words chosen? What emotional impact are they intended to have? Recognizing manipulative techniques in this way can be likened to breaking a spell. It is an important step towards regaining control of your own mind, breaking it from the influence of ill-wishers. The main conclusion to be drawn is that news reports do not simply reflect reality, they actively participate in shaping it. Every headline that catches our eye, every story we absorb, is a kind of incantation that influences our perception of the world and our interaction with it. Realizing the magnitude of this global linguistic impact may at first feel overwhelming. But it's important to remember that knowledge is power. The very fact of recognizing the problem is already the first step to protecting ourselves from manipulation. There is an even more widespread form of linguistic control that permeates virtually all spheres of our lives. Imagine that a given revelation would disappear from public access as soon as it was viewed, and the ideas contained therein would be censored because of their potential power. Only one important message would remain in memory. Words are not just sounds. They are tools with powerful energy that can shape reality. Let's delve deeper into how words have a profound effect on our minds on a physiological level. Every word we encounter strengthens certain neural connections in the brain, a manifestation of neuroplasticity. This phenomenon is not limited to positive affirmations or simple thoughts. It encompasses every phrase we hear or utter in our thoughts. Research in the field of language therapy shows that conscious word choice can transform emotional processing in the brain. While some words evoke positive emotions, others can reinforce negative reactions. Over time, language forms stable patterns that influence our emotional responses and ultimately shape our perception of the world. Neuroplasticity is particularly interesting because it refutes the common belief that only children have the ability to easily learn new languages or thought patterns. While the early years of life are certainly important for development, adults also retain a remarkable ability to change their minds through purposeful language work. The ability to express thoughts in new ways, replacing limiting beliefs with conscious, growth-oriented language, results in a physical reorganization of neural pathways, even into adulthood. This proves that we can all rewrite our mental scripts, regardless of age. At the heart of quantum mechanics lies a surprising discovery. The very act of observation can influence the behavior of subatomic particles. In other words, the smallest elements of the universe exhibit different properties depending on whether a scientist observes them. A similar effect can be found in the sphere of language, where every spoken word becomes a kind of act of observation, cutting off countless possibilities and fixing only one, which seems to be true. When a person expresses hope and confidence in his future, he is not merely indulging in optimism. He is making a conscious choice, selecting the most desirable from a limitless spectrum of potential options. In doing so, he creates a kind of reality frame that defines his perception and guides his actions. However, the influence of language is not limited to the individual level. Public discourse, shaped by the media and other institutions, creates a broader framework that defines collective beliefs and values. For example, the use of terms such as riot instead of protest or reform instead of regulation imperceptibly shapes public opinion, even if people do not realize this influence. These linguistic constructions are not simply reflections of different points of view. They are powerful tools capable of evoking strong emotions and directing the collective consciousness in a certain direction. Understanding the mechanisms of action of these frameworks is the first step to freeing ourselves from manipulative narratives that seek to control our perception of reality. In conclusion, it is worth emphasizing that language is a powerful tool at your disposal, ready to serve your purposes. Words filled with positive meaning, such as abundance, prosperity, and delight, can elevate your emotional and mental state, while vocabulary associated with insecurity and want has the opposite effect. When you become conscious about choosing words that align with your aspirations, you're not just cultivating positive thinking. You're actively participating in shaping your inner world, physical state, and future prospects. This is a call to move from passive use of speech to purposeful use of language that can transform reality. Each spoken word is a conscious choice, an energetic impulse that shapes the reality around you. Use this power thoughtfully and watch as the world created by your imagination takes tangible form. So, we have come to a conclusion. You now know that words are not just a collection of sounds or symbols. They are vibrations, each with the potential to create your life, health, and consciousness. From your fleeting thoughts to your boldest designs, words define your perception of the world and how the world perceives you. Imagine that you have a key in your hands, a universal tool that can unlock the door to the reality you have always dreamed of, but the path to which seemed unattainable. Think for a moment. What are the words that shape your life? What phrases, like anchors, keep you from moving forward? Imagine the horizons that would open up if you replaced these limiting constructs with powerful, inspiring affirmations. It's not just about replacing words. It's about transforming your perception of life in its entirety. Here's a simple but effective experiment. For just one day, pay close attention to the words you say to yourself and others. If you notice the use of a negative phrase, immediately replace it with a statement that opens up new perspectives and opportunities. Try to imagine what will be possible when you take control of your speech. By beginning to speak consciously, with intention, you create a reality that reflects your true potential. You are no longer bound by the invisible bonds of limitation. You have the powerful force of liberation. Every word you speak is a choice, a chance to rewrite the story you are telling yourself and the world. It is important to realize that self-improvement is not a quest to transform into someone else, but rather a process of discovering and accepting your true self. The inner potential has always been present, patiently waiting to be unlocked and channeled. Now that I have come to realize the significance and weight of the words I speak, a natural question arises. What horizons will open up in the future? If the presented material was useful and interesting, the author suggests to familiarize with additional materials devoted to the comprehension of human existence. We express our sincere gratitude to all those who support the development of the channel and help in reaching the milestone of 100,000 subscribers. The realization that so many people find value in the content created is a powerful incentive for further work. The author thanks everyone who accompanies him on this exciting journey of self-discovery and encourages us to remember that every spoken word has the power to shape reality. It is necessary to use this power consciously and purposefully, because it is now that a new chapter of life begins, full of opportunities and promise.